Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast, an ongoing series of conversations and considerations to help people understand and embrace their own unique creativity for fulfilling lives and brilliant careers. My name is Ben Talon. I'm an illustrator and author, and I bring 16 years of creative industry experience working with the New York Times, The Guardian, the Premier League, and more. And I invite designers, artists, psychologists, scientists, coaches, athletes, sensitivity experts, and all kinds of thought leaders to help us broaden our knowledge of creativity. Creativity is a fundamental pillar of human happiness, a vital ingredient in the solutions to our problems, but so often misunderstood. The show is supported by founding sponsor and B Corp, Illustration X. Take a look at their stunning range of illustrators and animators at illustrationx.com. If you like the music for the show, it's by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on Spotify and all good music streaming services. Today I'm letting you back inside this warped brain as I consider creativity from all angles on a daily basis in the Creative Condition Diary. You can read it now at thecreativecondition.com on the brand new website, but here I am to tell it to you. Enjoy. This is the Creative Condition. How are you doing, guys? I hope you're well. I hope you're having a wonderful week. We'll get straight to it today. This is the Creative Condition Diary, the second installment, and you can read it and listen to it right now on the beautiful, sexy new website that I've launched, thecreativecondition.com. How are you finding it, by the way? I'd love your feedback on the site and some thoughts. I know there's a couple of bits that need tidying up. There's restrictions with website design, but I've had a great time building it, and I'm very happy with it, and it's a lovely little ecosystem to bring together over a decade's worth of creative exploration. And I hope you're enjoying the content. There's a reading list up there. There's a section about my coaching and how you can work directly with me by booking me for a talk at your agency, your business, to come in and tell you all about creativity, whether you think you know it or not. I've spent a decade turning this thing inside out, and I've got some great stories I'd love to share with you. There's a big aspect of personal development in all this work that I'm doing, as I've been finding out with my coaching clients as we work together on a bi-weekly basis, or some of them just through the pit stop, which is a one-off intensive audit of your foundational elements of creativity. I love that one. We go through your environment, we go through your peace with yourself. Are you happy with your dark side? Do you get out enough? Are you at one with nature? That's biophilia. We look at mischief. Are you mischievous? What's your sense of humour like? How can we attune to that? We go through everything. It can take up to 4 hours, but I love the process. There's 4 case studies on the website, which you can check out now. In-depth examples of how it works, what problems they had, what we did together, what I identified as solutions, and how we move forward. So I'm very excited about it. I'll go and have a look now, thecreativecondition.com. And you'll also notice the podcast area where I brought together all the shows, big pull quotes, really made it sing and dance instead of just being stuck on podcast platform archives. So it's an exciting time for the show. I'm writing the diary each week as these thoughts come to me. It's very raw and unrefined, and that's what I'm bringing you today. I hope you enjoyed last week's show with Duncan Wardle, former Disney head of innovation and creativity. What a mind. What a bundle of energy Duncan was, and I learned so much from him in his wonderful new book, The Imagination Emporium, which you can get this week, when the show goes out. Got to think about when you're recording this stuff sometimes, haven't you? Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, ever loyal, been there since day one, helped me get this thing off the ground, illustrationx.com. Go and check out their global range of illustration and animation portfolios. There's been a slight upturn in business recently on the illustration front, working with these guys, which is lovely coming up to Christmas, because it's been a really quiet year, and I've been having some conversations with some of you guys on LinkedIn. I've just joined Blue Sky as well, under Creative Condition. Come and join me on there. As I work out, as you'll find out in this diary, work out my relationship with social media and really start to interrogate what I want from it moving into 2025. I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to waste time on there, but I want to have engaging, fruitful relationships, which I have had plenty of with you guys over the years, and I want to continue to do so. But I want to cut the bullshit and make it work for me and not let it interrupt my creativity. And I think, having read The Anxious Generation, as I've mentioned in the last couple of shows, by Jonathan Haidt, there are more than enough reasons to really take that seriously and not get to the end of my life and look back and go, you fucking idiot, you couldn't get off your screen. Anyway, without further ado, here is the latest from the Creative Condition Diary. Contact me now, get in touch to creativecondition.com. I'd love to hear from you guys on any level. Just a conversation, hit me up on Blue Sky, LinkedIn, go and read the reading list. Let's talk about the books on there, talk about what you've learned, give me some book recommendations, or let's work together. Get me in for a talk. Sign up for coaching. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Give me a shout, we can have a chat. Okay, let's get to it. The diary. 15th of November 2024, the copper and the weirdo. Lunchtime, running after the dog again, slapstick style. The middle of the 3 green spaces that comprise our walk sits right next to the local police station. So throughout the day, there's a steady stream of coppers smoking fags, drinking coffee outside, or just milling around before or after going out to catch robbers. Today I don't see the officer who's smoking behind the bushes where I gallop with the tennis ball. I nod, mumble hello, notice she's thrown by my sudden presence, so I turn and make plainly obvious I am a dog walker, and I am with my dog. Walter, come on, good boy, I bellow as he shows up. Also thrown by my over-exuberant cry for backup. The officer now smiles, visibly relieved. At least that's how I read it. Either way, as I barrel up the hill and over the top towards the next green space, I think about it. Why did I need the dog to justify my behaviour? We spent thousands of years moving at pace throughout woodland and across green spaces. This is not just walking the dog. It's become my daily ritual to dust off the afternoon cobwebs, to keep my body healthy and my mind sharp, to give me the best chance of optimal creativity or entering flow. Would it be less weird if I were on a conveyor belt in sweatpants behind some glass where I could smell the sweat of others? Fuck that. Those people in gyms are behaving in a far more unnatural way, aren't they? When you really think about it. Anyway, I could care less. The momentary return of my 14-year-old self caught in the maturity trap is annoying and requires work. 18th of November 2024, Disneyland Creative. I'd never been to Preston before. UCLan appeared on my radar in 2003 because it had an illustration degree course. It was far enough away from my childhood home for independence, but close enough to visit my people regularly. It had been recommended because the course had a strong reputation. I arrived for an interview having never been to the city, and somehow, on a level I couldn't articulate with language, all it took for me to know I would be coming here was a blue sky at the top of a road full of black cabs leading out the station. I still couldn't tell you why, 21 years later. I learned my craft, enjoyed 6 wonderful years in Preston, and still love the place. The best I can offer is resonance, time and place, knowing on a primal level that here was where I needed to be now. The view literally offered me no more than a blue sky, the taxis and a smattering of people, and from there, the campus activity, the High Street and Victoria building, where I'd spend the next 3 years studying illustration, upheld this instinctive allure. Steve, the course leader, was a Leeds fan and showed none of the borderline hostility a lecturer at Leeds Met had oozed as she smacked each page of my admittedly weak portfolio aside before telling me, bit thin, Preston might be the one for you. In fact, Steve said little at all about the work, nodding and smiling occasionally, asking about Bradford College, where I'd be switching from. He seemed more interested in me, something I've since learned is the top of any good course or business leader's priorities. The human and their story. He told me he'd seen enough to know I wanted this, and my offer of a place came through shortly after. On Friday I pulled into the car park of Arts University Bournemouth where I was due to do the Creative Condition talk for the communication design students. The sky was blue, and it happened again. The campus was alive. People seemed to carry purpose, and it looked fantastic. A range of cool buildings, a cafe, and as the tutor showed me around, a knee-weakening array of craft facilities, typesetting workshops, printmaking, breakout rooms, next to the course studios. And not just art and design. I saw a creative writing course, even an acting space. Just like Preston, my instincts glowed and raged and crashed around my body and mind. I hinted at this in the staff room, and as I prepared my notes and met the other tutors, one of whom told me it was something of a Disneyland for creatives. Whether there's something for me at Bournemouth specifically remains to be seen. Geographically and skill set wise, it's possible. But you have to look at this thematically. Just weeks earlier, I'd carried out my coaching, the vision exercise on myself, and what flooded out of my unconscious was close to art school. I've never gotten over the wondrous crackle of art college and the sheer purpose it brought to my life. So clearly, While grateful for my little garden studio and the benefits it brings me, I need that kind of interaction, scope to play, and space for my creativity to be optimal. Here was one version of it, and a very familiar feeling returning from 21 years ago. 22nd of November, Council Ball. Me and the dog, Wednesday morning. It's lashing down this morning, so I get out the 35 quid high-vis council worker style coat because it's properly waterproof, not showerproof, after one wash like the one I blew a ton on in the outdoor shop. With it, I put on a flat cap because thanks to my massive skull, the hood makes me look like one of those 1990s vending machine glow-in-the-dark condoms. Anyway, it's only after a while, and I wonder if this might be in my head. It seems to me that I'm getting less eye contact, no small talk today, perception of appearance. Are people assuming I'm as rough as a rat catcher's whistle? That I might leer or wolf whistle? If not that, what do people assume with high-vis, if anything? I've always wondered, even though I never really cared, how my appearance might perceive me and undermine my creative offerings in some way. On my first trip to London, embarrassingly, I wore smart trousers and a shirt. On Thursday, I'm back in the normal get-up, this time with a woolly hat with large pom-pom. I forget about the eye contact and small talk thing, but during the walk, the dog and I find a knackered old football and have a right old tear-up. I carry it to the park near the house and notice I'm drawing a lot of smiles and nods from both parents and children going the other way on the school run. Perhaps tomorrow I'll try mixing Wednesday and Thursday and pay close attention. 28th of November 2024. An AI comment. Congrats on launching the site. It's fantastic to see your passion for creativity taking shape in such a meaningful way. I freeze. My human empathy and compassion glow at first. I mean, there's a little face in the avatar thumbnail on LinkedIn. It belongs to Fortunate Daphne, who describes herself as an executive and administrative virtual assistant focused on making tasks easier for business owners, entrepreneurs and founders. Let me take care of your administrative tasks while you focus on growing your business. After compassion and empathy comes suspicion. The language is spammy. If it's written by a real person, it needs some humanity. But not everyone can write well. And when I look at her profile, Uganda is the geotag. So maybe this just isn't her first language. The use of virtual assistant is ambiguous and fails to clarify whether Fortunate is indeed virtual, or a person offering me her business support via a virtual assistant. Then, my shambolic organisation skills flare up and it sounds appealing. I've not missed a deadline in my 17-year career, and I file my accounts each year, but you should see the state of my machine. Desktop like a wedding post-confetti floor. But what this really comes down to is whether to reply to her comment or not. If she's real, and I don't, I'm rude and or arrogant. If she's real and I do, we both win. If she's a bot and I do, I'm a dickhead to anyone else following the post. If she's a bot and I don't, this still leaves me in the mire, because those following won't be certain about her either. Oh God, this is what they're warning us against with AI, isn't it? The eventuality that the internet is quite literally submerged in spam, leaving us unable to trust anything at all. Then, having read The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, a book highlighting how social media has wrecked the mental health of kids given access to smart devices far too early, a nihilistic part of me feels good about that idea. But not really. Not with the important stuff that relies on the internet. I panic, cancel the window and go back to my work, but Fortunate keeps staring at me in my mind. For the rest of the afternoon I wonder just how much my life has changed since the advent of the smartphone and what impact tech will have from here. 5th of December 2024. The big kid behaving. Just steaming, get the fucking money and get out. It belongs in a Guy Ritchie film. But this is the kind of self-loathsome self-talk I must carry out to keep myself organised and sane. Since an early age, I've struggled to apply myself to anything that doesn't excite, intrigue or amuse me. It costs me in the sense that I operate at my desk, painting, drawing, making, ripping, recording, under the shadow of loose ends that will slice my mood like paper edges. Brain? Neuro stuff? Maybe that's Pandora's box of its own. But I haven't yet gone there. Either way, when I do get in there and attack the niggling banality of whichever murderous chore I must commit, I feel exhilaration like no other. This morning I had 5 emails and 1 LinkedIn message to reply to, and I needed to stop putting off logging onto my banking. Last week it was sending my accounts for 23-24 to my accountant. I can't help but feel this must be rife in the creative industry, given the value of our extremely broad range of brain types when it comes to our currency, imagination, innovation, ideas, and so on. The flip side is that we have a tendency to make monsters out of the mundane. The exhilaration following the completion of my accounts last week and my admin tasks this morning emanates from the blue skies behind the heavy grey clouds. With a brain like mine, happiest when making and innovating, with all that adult shit cleared, I can wholly immerse myself in the play that I need to exist. Today, 4 illustration projects and a biography I've written in a short story prose format. Without the weight of the unwanted, I can put the music on, light the room, and disappear into flow states and imaginative wormholes. Had I been the big kid I am too often, today might have degenerated into sullen meandering through social media mazes and irritable subpar creations. It still might, but probably not. 6th of December 2024. Seeking the social in media. I'll turn 42 next year. A full life might be 82, or 70, or 75. I don't bloody know. My point is that if I get a full outing, I can see this as half-time. Sit down in the dressing room, take the bollocking, feed on the praise for the good stuff. Then it's back out to kick on. When I signed up for Twitter in 2009, I was 28. In the mindset of a person who feels life is all ahead, perhaps there's a risk of spending too much valuable time scrolling and interrupting the good stuff. I certainly did that a little bit. Thankfully, I never saw any value in sharing my personal life on the internet. That's all mine. But I crashed a few flow states by just checking how the artwork or comment I'd shared was being received. Now, at nearly 42, that clock ticks louder. This isn't morbid, it's incredibly positive. I talk to my deathbed self daily and make sure I'm seeking maximum enrichment in my life, and it's one of the first tasks I set my coaching clients. That way, when the system's designed to drain my attention by engaging my brain, reach out with their resource-intensive tendrils, I chop the fuckers off and get back to drawing, reading, writing, and after work, playing with the kids or staring at a wall so my unconscious can do its invaluable job. Anything but mindless screen gazing. I want to remember things as I traverse the world around me, notice changes, glean ideas nobody else, not even AI, can have. Feel things, know things, trust I'm here with a purpose. Data subject is how some big tech companies actually refer to humans these days. That should tell you what they care about. Too many times I've walked or travelled somewhere and not even remembered the journey, so fuck that. I'm smelling the trees and touching the earth each morning before my eyes enter any screen. It's time to reconsider my relationship with social media. I'm not leaving, but I want it to nourish, bring about meaningful conversations with real people, and I'd like to stay in control of it. That way, the second half of my life stands a chance of matching what, all considered, thanks to creativity and good people, has been a pretty beautiful first half run out. And that brings you up to date, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the Creative Condition Diary. I must admit, I really love writing this because it takes me back to the writing style of Champagne and Wax Crayons when it was very emotionally driven writing about the experience of being a creative professional and trying to make a living from that. And it's kind of back to that, but now it's a broader musing and consideration of creativity and the daily experiences and observations that I make. And I want to take you all on the ride, so I hope you're enjoying this, whether it's the audio format, whether you're reading it on the website. You can do both if you want. I would very much appreciate that. And the thought has entered my mind, actually, that eventually maybe I could put together a little audiobook or a little ebook of this, maybe even a print edition, like a zine. What do you reckon? Let me know your thoughts. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe even just keep it as rough and, ready as it is, because there's flaws in there, there's little errors, but that's the point. I want this to be like a written diary where it's not really over-processed, it's just spewed down onto the page and then not curated too much, because that's what the articles section of the website is for, or commissioned written pieces that I might go away and do for somebody. Anyway, that's that. Go over and check out thecreativecondition.com. I would love your feedback on the brand new website. There's a shop there. There's an exclusive Christmas bundle deal at the minute where you can get both of my books, Champagne and Wax Crayons and The Creative Condition, along with the Anatomy of Creativity map, which is kind of an accompaniment for the Creative Condition, so you can chart your own creativity and take great care of it. And the idea is that for the price of a pint for the digital edition or £12.50 for the print edition of the map, you can access the framework that I coach people with, because I don't want this to be about just people who can afford my one-to-one coaching, or afford to book me to go and do a talk at a festival or their agency. No, I want this to be accessible to anybody who can afford a beer. That's the idea. So go and get it. It will help you make sense of the creativity that you sort of know in your head, and it whizzes around and it's instinctive and emotional, but this will help you get it into a tangible structure and recognize blind spots and areas where you might be lacking. There you have it. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, Illustration X, ever loyal, illustrationx.com. I think next year this podcast is going to be more about this diary and then punctured with guest episodes, because that way it will enable me to keep this weekly and check in with you guys, but also free me up to do my coaching and talks and get out there and be in the real world a little more. That's the plan anyway. And then also what it means is I really get the time to sit down and properly curate guests to explore specific topics and not be under the weight of pressure to produce a weekly show every single week, even when I'm busy with projects and family life and coaching and everything else that I try to do. Anyway, guys, feedback welcome. Love you all for listening. Welcome if you're new to the show. I'm also on YouTube, Creative Condition YouTube channel. You can see video versions of things there, but you only need to head to thecreativecondition.com and you'll find the videos there and follow the links to get there. Everything now centralized at the website. Thank you guys for listening. Have a lovely, lovely week. There's going to be one more episode, by the way, before Christmas, and then I'm going to have a little break into mid-January because I've gone every single week of 2024. I'm not going to do the Christmas week because I think we're all going to be with our families and spending time relaxing and resting. At least I hope we are. So forgive me that one, but I've gone the entire year right through to Christmas this year, every single week. It's the first time I've done it since I started the show in 2015. I feel very happy about that, but I am ready for a little breather now and then come back strong in mid-January and pick up where we left off with big plans for the new year. That's about it from me. Cheers, guys. Take care. Chat to you very, very soon.